We are live.
Great. Hey everyone. I'll be taking over for Danny today. This is Consensus Layer Call 105. The agenda doesn't look too packed, which is good. Let's see. There's one in the chat for people on the call. It's issue 747 on the PM repo. So let's see here. What have we got today? I think I'll go a little out of order here. And first, let's talk about client releases. The first thing is that we have a consensus specs release. The latest one here is version 130 RC5 Lionel. And I think the main thing this does is it sets the actual Capella fork epoch that we've agreed to for mainnet. And there was some stuff for Deneb, and we'll get to that in a bit. Yeah, do any of the client teams want to go around and just speak to their readiness? I think some people have releases. Maybe everyone has releases out now.
Prism will release early next week. That's the plan.
Great.
Deku should be done in a few hours, certainly by tomorrow.
Nevermind will release today.
Geth has released yesterday or the day before.
Nimbus also yesterday.
Early next week for Lodestar.
So we released for Lighthouse, but we're releasing a hotfix for that release tomorrow, I think.
Okay, great. So I think that was everyone on the call. I can't see the full list, but yeah, so people either have released or they will in the next couple of days, it sounds like. So if you're listening, be aware, follow the usual distribution channels and update your nodes.
Yeah, we should have the blog post.
Release.
We should have the blog post up hopefully Tuesday-ish, Wednesday at the latest for people listening.
Okay, great. And that gives us a bit more than 2 weeks, something like that. So should be plenty of time. And everyone keep an eye out for the blog post. And yeah, nice work, everyone. So that's it for, I mean, that might be it for Capella. Is there anything else anyone wants to discuss about Capella at the moment? Then we'll move on to 444 and Deneb stuff.
Just one thing, we started syncing some mainnet nodes, and once all the releases are done, we'd have a mainnet shadow fork, and I guess that would be the last attempt at the transition publicly before we hit it on mainnet.
Okay, great. Thanks, Perry. So one more mainnet shadow fork with the final releases. That would be nice just to, give us one more go at things. Not expecting any issues, but that'll be good to confirm. And yeah, any other Capella things while we're here?
Frederick, do you want to mention the bug bounty?
Yeah, sure. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry, I was unmuted. Yeah, so the bug bounty for any Chapella specific issues has been increased by 2x. So there's a 2x multiplier for any vulnerabilities that affects the Chapella code paths. So yeah, go ahead and start looking for more vulnerabilities as the max bounty payout for Chapella specific issues is now up to $500,000.
Is there a tweet about this that we can share?
I'm still waiting for the let's see, bounty. I don't think the banner has gone live yet. No, it hasn't. So the banner will be updated on bounty.ethereum.org soon. And then I will make a post about it or a tweet about it.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's exciting. And anyone listening, get to bug hunting. So Terrence, thank you for bringing up the MedBoost community call. I'll just plug this while we're here. The main thing will be to discuss Capella readiness for MedBoost operators, relays, builders, that whole cast and crew. The next call for this will be March 30th at 1600 UTC, so 4 p.m. And yeah, maybe I'll just toss this link in here. Let me grab that. And yeah, please attend if you can, especially if you're listening and you operate a relay builder, something like this. Okay, I think we can move on to Deneb now. There's not too much on the agenda. The one thing is this PR on the execution APIs 392. Is G11 Tech on the call?
Yep, hi.
Okay. Do you want to give us a little summary about this? Looks like we want to, at least it suggests adding proofs to the skip blobs engine API.
Right. So with basically Bob's now decoupled, the network wrapper for the blob transaction for EL will now also include blobs, and there is a PR for that on EIP 6610. So now since the EL has the proofs, it can just pass on the proofs to the CL using get blobs bundle, and CL just needs to batch verify whether the KZG's blobs and proofs, they all match, and basically then the block production can follow the normal path.
Okay, so this is just saying because we now have the proofs, available with the EL, we can just pass them along to the engine API to the CL and do the verification there. At a high level, that sounds reasonable. Has anyone else had a chance to look at this PR? I haven't been able to look in depth yet.
Does anyone have a rough number on like how long does the compute proof take? I guess this is mainly for optimization.
Yeah, I mean,
It should
it's
be
mainly
something
for
like 14 milliseconds or so.
But if I'm looking at this correctly, this is work that would already need to be done, right? This is just kind of moving around where it happens. So it's not that we're adding extra latency or something like that.
No, the work doesn't need to be done because the proofs are already in the transactions, right? So building a blob now does not require computing any proofs.
right. So proofs are already in the transaction. So EL just needs to pass it along. And with respect to CL, basically it is sort of a very clean thing that CL only needs to verify whatever it gets from EL and not really generate any proofs or commitments on its own.
Okay, yeah, again, makes sense at a high level. Everyone, please take a look and yeah, take in your review to the PR. Marius had a question in the chat to discuss KZG library startup times. So I guess some of them might be slow. Marius, do you want to say more?
Yes, so something that Mario discovered during testing for Void44 is that now every test execution on the Void44 branch takes a couple of seconds, and this is because of the startup time of the EVM binary, which has to initialize the KZG library. And I think he said that this is going to be fixed by the KZG library that is used in Void44 at the moment. But it's
This
just
is
something
CKZG?
I think it's CKZG, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so but this is something that we should really discuss. Like, I know that in order to load the data, there have to be, like, in order to initialize the library, there has to be a bunch of curve operations, right, in order to uncompress the points. And yeah, I'm not sure how long that should take, but just I want to remind the writers of the KZG libraries that we will have to pay this initialization costs for every test, basically, and for everything. So it makes sense to optimize it, even if it is in the normal node, it is only done once, but during tests it's done over and over again.
So I believe there are two things that happen actually on startup. One is the uncompressing, but I think the long time that takes several seconds is because we currently transform to Lagrange form on startup. And actually both of these could be changed in principle. Like we could store the whole setup in Lagrange form, uncompressed, and then like it should literally just be reading it from disk. So I think that could be changed. It could take milliseconds.
Yeah, that would be really good.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. We can talk to the CKZG maintainers and anyone else working on those libraries to look at that. And yeah, if it improves startup times, then it sounds like we'll get around that issue. So I think that's all we had on the agenda today for Deneb. Anything else on anyone's mind?
I mean, the SSE stuff is still kind of ongoing. Question is if we want to move some parts of it into the NEB, like the withdrawals or this signature scheme for the SSE transactions.
Right. So I believe there was a 444 breakout on Monday. Maybe someone here attended and could give a little summary. I believe this was discussed there, at least briefly.
The short, I think the decision we made is just to wait until all core devs makes a decision. So we like, it seems like there's a lot of stuff to like discuss around SSZ. And in the meantime, we're just going to keep the spec as is. And if there are changes that happens, we'll obviously retrofit 4844 to support that, or be forward compatible with whatever design we'd like to go forward with. But yeah, we didn't specifically come up to a solution on that or anything. It's not clear what.
Yeah, I think that makes.
Yeah, and it's not clear like how much time clients have had to like properly dig into SSZ, given like we're shipping Chapella right now. So yeah, it seems like there needs to be more conversation and kind of, I guess, diligence done on it by different client teams.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I know it's a pretty big change, especially like the long tail of everything we could try to do in terms of converting these different accumulators and things, different serializations. And yeah, at that point, it becomes like much bigger than just changing a few routes. But yeah, I think that makes sense just to keep 444 as it is now. And yeah, definitely something we could change down the line if needed. And I suppose that's on the ACDE process to resolve that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for calling it out, Itan. Anything else for Deneb that anyone wants to discuss right now? I'll take that as a no. So the only other thing we really have on the agenda is just sort of moving down to either different research questions, discussions, open discussions. One thing that was called out was the name for the upgrade after Deneb. There's an ETH Magicians post here, brainstorming E names. Anyone have a favorite here they want to chime in? Let's see. Looks like some leading ones are Electra, Ebla, Enif. We got an Electra in the chat. Either way, more Electras. Okay, everyone seems like Electra. Yeah, so I think ETH Magicians post is the place to chime in. If you want to participate in that conversation, definitely also anyone listening in the community, take a look if you want to be part of the naming process. And yeah, although I can just say here, looking at the chat, there's a very broad support for Electra. Oh yeah, and then we'll need some, fusion name. Tim calls out Prolectra, which is pretty funny. Yeah. Okay. I think that's probably that. Didn't seem to be too much discussion.
If we don't have anything to
Marius?
discuss.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much open discussion now.
I would really like to drop the EL name, and I think the combined names are kind of horrible. I know that some people don't like this because of the possibility of a hard fork happening on one, but not the other layer. But I think we can kind of burn this bridge if we get there. So yeah, I would really like to drop the EL names, just because it makes everything so confusing, and it also confuses the it makes it not only confusing for us, but it also makes it confusing for the community because they now have to. They see basically they see three names, right? They see Shanghai, they see Capella, and they see Chapella, and they have to understand that all of these three names are the same thing, and
Also, I would say that dropping one of them doesn't actually preclude only having a fork on one side. You just give it one name.
Could you repeat that? You kind of dropped off a
Yeah, it
bit.
didn't quite come through.
Your concern was that people don't like this because we might have a fork on just one side, but you can still do that and just have one name.
Right now, it's just the name. Looking at the name tells you whether it's one side or two side, but arguably that's a small benefit.
Yeah, the way I see it is like having the greater resolution is good for, people who are working on clients, things like this, where it's like having that extra technical sort of resolution is really helpful. At least it can be. But yeah, I agree with what people are saying that like it is really confusing. Sometimes I'll even get tongue-tied talking about them and like say something, some weird other name, trying to refer to, one and a half at a time. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it would be crazy to just move to one name.
If I may chime in
That
here.
being said, yeah, go ahead.
I think this is a good opportunity for like Ethereum developers to kind of educate Ethereum community to learn all about Ethereum. Like till date, there are people who thinks that it is ETH2, and I have read articles in like reputed news websites saying that Ethereum has moved its consensus to ETH2. It's now ETH2. So if we are having this two-layer concept, we are trying to educate them in terms of suggesting that Ethereum works on two layers. And these are the changes. The people interested in learning more about execution layer, they should follow the execution repository and learn more about that. And definitely execution development team has their name. So I kind of support these two names. It's just that we need to start talking about it early on, like we did it for Deneb. I don't think Deneb will have that kind of problem that Shanghai and Chapela had. Similarly, yeah, that's my thought. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I mean, just, to be respectful of everyone's time, I don't think we're gonna solve this right now on this call. Maybe it warrants an ETH Magician's post or something if you feel strongly, and we can move the conversation there. I think we'd also probably want to bring this to all core devs and get that take.
How much the snap to the
Sorry, what was that? It was a little garbled.
sorry, I haven't muted myself.
Okay. Tim, what's the one combined name?
Why?
It's so much more fun. It's less better SEO as well. You know, how many hits do you get for Chapella outside of Ethereum versus Prague? I like it. Yeah, not a hill I will die on, but yeah. If the concern is technical, like if the concern is actually like we should just tell the community one thing and they should only understand one name, I'd much rather it's like a fun new name than like Prague. We can find some random stars nobody's heard about, but yeah. Ideally, 2 or 3 syllables, POTUS. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways.
So I think if you care about this, anyone listening, you should, someone should make an ETH Magicians post and we can move the conversation there. Otherwise, we'll just talk in circles about bike shedding names for the next hour. And that being said, anything else anyone has? I think otherwise we could just call it an early call today. I'll take the silence as no. So yeah, thanks everyone. And yeah, I think the main thing, if you're listening, is just to look out for the client release blog post, something like 2 weeks from now. I think that was right. And, oh wait, was that 1 week? Yeah, sorry, more like 1 week from now. That's important to get right. So keep an eyes on the blog, and yeah, otherwise, thanks everyone, and I'll talk to you all later.
Thanks for hosting.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. Bye.